With over 8,000 square feet of floor space, this is the largest official LEGO event in the world. But Renzo, Brickworld Chicago is way bigger. I know, but this is the biggest event that LEGO actually organizes themselves. At least, that's what they state on their website. I was surrounded by millions of LEGO parts used for various builds in the different themed sections. I've been here before, but that was probably about 20 years ago. So, I didn't really know what to expect. I saw giant LEGO sculptures, a bunch of moving parts, and I got some inspiration for my LEGO city. But before I tell you everything about LEGO World, let's rewind just a little bit. Ever since I was a kid, I was into LEGO. I started with the Hogwarts castle and slowly built my way up to custom designs. I love coming up with new ideas and techniques for my MOCs, but I sometimes get this creative block and I never know how long it'll last. I try building things out of random parts, I watch a ton of YouTube videos, but it hasn't really helped lately. Then I saw an ad for LEGO World, and it just so happens to be in the Netherlands, where I live. So I got 2 tickets, one for me and one for my editor. With our cameras packed, we were off to Utrecht. With a short 40-minute train ride, we were at Utrecht station, and before we knew it, we arrived at the venue. Getting through the line at the entrance wasn't too bad, because it started out quite empty. We first headed over to the LEGO Botanical Greenhouse, because it was pretty much the first thing we saw. LEGO makes a couple of different flower sets, and they use them to make an almost realistic flower shop. Most of the flowers were made into bouquets and put together as a great looking display. Besides the bigger flower sets, LEGO also has smaller sets, and they use those throughout the display as well. Some bouquets even had real flowers in them. There was a bike, which is very Dutch, with a basket of flowers, and a cat that knocked down a vase. This was actually my favorite part of the greenhouse, but because of the terrible lighting and reflection you can't really see what's happening. After the greenhouse, we went over to the museum they put up. It started with a whole timeline of LEGO throughout the last 90 years. The theme of the museum was past versus present. The further you got, the newer the parts and sets became. They had a small, old-school LEGO city, and there were also a couple of displays with an old version of a set accompanied by a newer one. This, for example, is the medieval town square, next to the medieval market village from 2009. It's only a 15-year difference, but you can clearly see the development over the years. To finish off the museum, there were 2 giant paintings made out of LEGO. It was very difficult filming these, by the way. There were constantly people that completely ignored the fact I was trying to take a good shot of the paintings. I'm not the kind of person that will ask people to move, because everyone has paid for that ticket, and they have just as much right to be an asshole as I do. It's just annoying, but you'll probably see more of that during this video. As you can see, the next thing was LEGO cars. On this platform they had some LEGO car sets displayed. The Technic Mercedes AMG, the Peugeot Le Mans, the Liebherr Crane, the Yamaha MT-10, and a McLaren P1. And that last one is kind of interesting. A while ago I saw a video from LEGO where Lando Norris drives a McLaren P1, but it was made out of LEGO. I don't know if it was the actual car from that video, but they had a life-size P1 just standing right there. With the working lights and engine sounds, this was a real attraction to a lot of people. I'm not that into cars myself, but this was done really well. And to make it even better, there was a green Lamborghini right next to it. Life-size as well, and of course with working lights and engine sounds. Although very dusty, even the inside was made out of LEGO. Then lastly, there was a brick-built monster truck and a Porsche GT3 RS. I preferred the other ones, but I do love the fact that they even made all of the Technic connections with bricks. Continuing on, we got to the space section. It was pretty dark and there was honestly not that much to see. They had a space scene, some informational things, and a giant version of the Milky Way set, which was very cool. I have no idea how many parts they used for this, but seeing the real set has a bit over 3,000 parts, and this was probably about 5 times bigger, I wouldn't be surprised if it had over 15,000 parts. From the regular space exhibition, we entered the Star Wars section. I honestly don't understand why they can't just turn on some more lights. This is getting annoying. With that being said, wait, that's not LEGO. What is this doing here? I don't even know what it's supposed to be, because just like with the cars, I don't know much about Star Wars either. They had a spaceship, another spaceship, Yoda, R2-D2, a second R2-D2, but this one looks a little bit different, I think. And in the middle they had a pretty big display of a space fight. If anyone knows if this fight is actually in the movies, please let me know in the comments. But what I do know is that some of these things are actual LEGO sets. They had the AT-ATs and the Millennium Falcon, if I'm correct. Next up was the LEGO gaming section, where you could play some LEGO Fortnite, I believe. I didn't really take any video there because it was incredibly busy with kids playing the game. I did get some shots of a couple of statues. One of them was a probably about 4-meter tall Bowser that was actually moving. Continuing from there, we passed a massive store with a ton of sets. They had some discount, but I didn't feel like carrying a huge box with me in the train home. I recently made a video about saving money on LEGO, so I think I'll be fine just getting the sets I want in my local mall. Further down they had a massive globe just hanging from a chain. Not sure why, but it looked cool. After passing the Netherlands made out of LEGO that was overlooked by our king and queen, we went to see the most exciting part of the show to me. See, there are a lot of people that build incredible things. Just like me, they don't like building from instructions too much, and they start experimenting with the parts in their collection. We saw a ton of awesome MOCs here, from working engines to a strand beast made entirely of Technic pieces, and a ton of different castles. But there were two things that really stood out to me. One of them is located in The Hague, where I live. It's not so much a single building, it looked more like an entire street. It's called the Gevangenpoort, and for 400 years it was used as a prison and a courthouse for those annoying people that stand in your way at LEGO conventions. In 1828 it became vacant and was doomed to be demolished. It wasn't though, and got turned into a museum that you can still visit today. I've been there multiple times, and although terrifying to see what they did to prisoners back in the days, it's very interesting. The other thing that really impressed me were these cars. They're super high detail and almost look like the real thing, just scaled down a bit. They're made by Dennis Glaskar, who also wrote a book called The Art of LEGO Skill Modeling. I wish I was this good at creating MOCs, but maybe I'll get there one day. There were a couple more very nice looking builds, but it was just so much that it got a bit overwhelming and I didn't actually film all of it. I do want to quickly show you this thing. I'm sure you've seen something like it before, but it's called a Great Ball Contraption. The goal is to get hundreds of marble-like balls around in a loop using motors and other moving parts. Everything needs to connect perfectly, so I'm sure it's a lot of work to set one of these up. I might give it a try myself at some point, because I really like the idea. Moving on, we walked past the Harry Potter section. The main thing here was a massive display of the Hogwarts castle and its surrounding areas. I don't know how accurate it actually was, because it also had a massive bird on top, but everywhere you looked there was something new to see. Towards the end, we checked out this huge LEGO city. There was so much going on, and they used different themes in different areas. There was a campground with some Animal Crossing, a Friends section, a whole Jurassic Park zoo situation, and they had some Disney in there as well. I hope that one day my own city will reach this size, but I still have a long way to go for that. Then finally, we got to see how LEGO is actually made. They brought over one of their brick molding machines from Denmark, and it was producing red 2x4 bricks on the spot. You could also get your own numbered brick, but we decided not to. There was a huge line and we were really tired at the end of the day. So we said goodbye to the brick machine, and with that, LEGO World 2024. But what did I actually think of this event? Well, that's a little two-sided. It was great, don't get me wrong. Seeing all of these builds got me excited to make more and bigger builds myself, to get my LEGO organized even better so I can streamline my building process, and to start working on my LEGO city again and expanding the storyline I have going on. But something also hit me. When I went to a LEGO World as a kid, I was over the moon and could have probably spent a week in that place. I remember everything being incredibly big and super impressive. I was hoping to step in there and feel like that 10-year-old kid again, and for some reason, that feeling just didn't really come. I get it though. When you're a kid, it usually doesn't take much to impress you. But when you're an adult, you look at things very differently. Everything just loses a bit of that childhood magic. Then again, I still get to play with LEGO every day, and having access to adult money is also worth something. Through that, we can try to feel like a kid again, and add a little bit of magic ourselves.